3 years ago, I was a business strategy consultant. I knew nothing about AI or even programming language, but now I'm a machine learning engineer. Back then, I only had a business and English degree. I had no one to ask for help. So what I did is I consumed all the online or available resources that I can study AI. And today, I'm really excited to share this content for every beginner who's interested or trying to learn AI for the first time. This will significantly reduce your time of study and make your learning journey a lot more accelerated. So let's dive in. When I first started learning AI, I divided the stage into 3 different stages. The first is beginner. Beginner is the stage where you can write the basic Python codes and understand the machine learning basic theories. And on the stage 2, this is the intermediate level, that you're on a level that you can learn and join the hackathons, data science competitions, and develop your own tactics on the model development. The third stage will be advanced level. This is the stage where you can build the AI products and read the research papers. Today, we're focusing on a stage 1. On a stage 1, when you're beginning to learn, we have to know what we're learning. What does learning AI mean? I've dealt with this content on an AI for Absolute Beginners series. What it means by learning AI is that you're learning with your brain and you're learning with your hand. On the brain stuff, it means the academic side of AI. It consists of mathematics, statistics and probability, and the theoretical foundations. And the second one is learning by your hand. Learning by hand means that you can code. It includes the programming side of the AI, that you can write the code and execute it and run the training. There's a lot to cover, right? I feel like many people are feeling lost because they only focus on the one track inside the components of learning AI. Now I'm about to share the learning strategy that cut my study time into half. But first, you need to know the bigger mistake that made me almost quit my studying. I think most of the people who start learning AI would say, oh, it's about math, but I'm really bad at math. I also thought the same way, but here's the truth about the math that no one tells you, that you don't need to be a math genius. Unless you're writing a research paper and trying to do your PhD degree, you don't need to know everything about math. The high school level math is good enough. So give yourself a maximum 1 month to review the math. That is the deadline. Don't get stuck here because there are a lot more to learn. So what I actually did is I gave myself a month to study math, and I bought a high school math textbook and a statistics basic book. Every day I solved just 5 math questions and read 10 pages of the statistics. So that's it. I wasn't trying to master everything. I was just making myself think, oh, this is how it works. If you don't know, you can go back to the textbook and review what you have learned. It's important that you know what it means. You don't need to master it. Here comes kind of game-changing strategy. This is what separated me from everyone who started at the same time but gave up. You need 3 different things. You need 3 different books. It can be online books or it can be printed books, up to you. The first book will be statistics and probability book, mathematics for machine learning, and third is machine learning basics books. I'll put my recommendation below. I personally think any books that as long as you can learn is the best book. For me, I use the books that I was given for free by people around or where I can access to in an online secondhand shop. So don't push yourself too much about buying expensive, fancy books. Among these 3 books, statistics and mathematics book that I've mentioned, number 1 and 2, is only the side books that you'll need to look up when you run into the concepts that you don't understand. So we're focusing on number 3, the machine learning basics book. Here's the strategy that I would love to share. This is the strategy that I call learn fast, fail fast, and repeat. This strategy has 3 rules that you should keep in mind. The first is speed over understanding. You need to study 1 chapter a day. Yes, even if you don't get it, most likely you wouldn't get it. You're not genius and everyone's not genius. On day 1, you'll understand only, let's say, 5% of chapter 1. And that's perfect because our goal is to make this 5% into 100%. You start off with day 1, chapter 1. And then on day 2, you review the chapter 1 and then read chapter 2. On chapter 3, you skim through chapter 1 to 2 and read the chapter 3. Can you see how it works? It accumulates the amounts of the papers that you review, and then you go back to the new chapter. This will help you keep motivated without losing the interest. Because new ideas, new theories, you'll be more and more interested. By the time you hit chapter 11, for example, you've seen chapter 1 10 times. You haven't mastered it, of course, but keywords are floating in your mind. You'll start to think like, oh, what's classification? How does it work? The training strategy, validation. All the neural pathways to all those keywords is developing. The confusion is becoming the familiarity. But one thing I want to mention is don't panic if you don't understand. You don't understand. Even you start working as a machine learning engineer, sometimes some concepts will be blurry that you have to go back to the textbook and see what happened. You're at the beginner stage and it's okay to be confused and not know anything. By this time, I assume you were probably thinking, how many times do I have to repeat this, going back to chapter 1 and starting all the way to the end of the chapter? I would say for me, it took 3 to 5 times to understand what is happening inside a textbook. Let's say you follow my advice and you read one chapter every day, and if the book consists of 15 different chapters, it'll take approximately 15 days. Now, if you're finished with the book, what should you do? It's time to go to number 3. The rule number 3 is a strategic deep dives. When you're done with the whole chapter, it's time to go back to the very beginning. You repeat the same process, but this time you have to focus on your question marks. When you have something that you can't understand, stop it. I know you can use Gemini, ChatGPT, and just simply prompt the question, but I would recommend not doing it at the very beginning. What you can do is Google it. Google the terminology that you don't understand, or watch 2 or 3 different YouTube videos. People explain the same concept in a different way because the way they understand can be slightly different. And if you find the definition that fits into your mind and understand what the concept is, then you can move on. The final stage you should not skip is explaining to yourself. You should explain it to yourself out loud. What I did is I started writing my own tech blog, very personal tech blog about explaining every concept I learned. I wrote in my own words. By the end of your studies, your book will probably look like this. Look at my book. It's so full of all the memos, all the underline, and it's very messy. You can definitely see I wrote down my machine learning, all my covers are gone. This is how your book should look like. When you finish studying, this is the proof of that your knowledge is alive in your brain. I know some of you might think, oh, finishing one chapter a day is crazy. I know that. I think everyone has different speed. For me, I'm kind of an impatient person who prefers and stay motivated if I learn the new stuff. I did one chapter a day, but if you feel overwhelming, try to make it into just a few pages. But set your own rule. You can do like, I can study 5 pages a day, 10 pages a day, up to you. But just don't stop and repeat and repeat. 3 years ago, I was just like you. I had zero background and I believe you can absolutely do it. Please stay tuned on the following series of the videos. I'll try to share more about how I learned AI and what are the helpful resources or materials that you can refer to. Thank you and hope you have a good day. Bye.